Sometimes I feel like a bad dog owner.
Why?
Because my dog understands several human words that I say, but I can't understand one bark that he makes.
Jeff, you're not supposed to understand.
Where's the effort on my part?
Well, it's a different language,
Maybe he's
Jeff.
not enunciating enough.
Yeah. Then again, I rarely understand what my co-hosts are talking about during What's on Your Mind, and I'm going to prove it right now, starting with Brooke. Brooke, what's on your mind?
Oh, we've entered a new era in our household. It was not my choice. We are officially video game family.
Yay! As you should
Why do you
be.
say that like it's a bad thing?
Okay, listen. Do you guys remember like 8 or 9 years ago, Microsoft came over and gave us Xbox consoles?
Yeah.
Mine's literally been sitting in a box in the closet since then. It's never been hooked up, and then my 7-year-old found it.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it doesn't
Yes.
work anymore because that system has been discontinued. So
Actually, it's the old system now.
So we've been like, oh yeah, it won't work. Well, we get a babysitter over the weekend.
Oh.
Who's a little gamer, and of course I come home and she's hooked it up for them.
That's
And I'm
awesome.
like, no.
And she thinks she's being nice, but
Yes.
to you, she changed
Yes.
the game.
And the kids are so excited.
Yeah.
Beyond their losing their minds with excitement.
Uh-huh.
Video games are
Oh my
awesome,
God.
Bro.
So we download 2 free games, right? Some driving thing and a Roblox game.
Oh.
And we let them
rocket
play
racing.
15 minutes each. That's it.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Next thing I know, they're of course begging for more time, and then my 7-year-old hits me with, "Can I follow Jose on his video game thing?"
okay.
And that's when I officially know that their future is done. there is, I can't go back. I say absolutely not, and then I think
Yes.
I may ground him for a month.
That is
I don't know.
Tell the kids it is an 18 and older stream. We don't have kids in the stream, but they can be a guest star if you let them. I'll bring them on, and we'll have no swearing for like an hour.
We're gonna leave it at weekends only right
Yeah,
now.
okay. Well, that's
Right.
awesome,
And
Brooke.
no hilarious Jose.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, so when they're 18,
Yeah.
they can like,
Yeah. Jose, what's been on your mind?
Well, the other day, I'm out with Alexis getting audio for the show, and I Uber it home, and my driver shows up, and he's not from our country, which is fine, very nice person, and he asked what I'm doing, and I told him I'm out getting interviews for work, and we're in the middle of the drive, and he says, interviews, and then he turns around while he's driving. It was kind of scary. And he goes, "What is your name?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm Jose." And he goes, "From Brooke and Jeffrey?" And I go, "Yeah." And
That's
he
awesome.
lights up. He is like, "Oh my gosh, I have never driven a celebrity before." And he's like being so kind to me. But then he's like laughing and like non-stop laughing. So like it's quiet now and he's just laughing.
And
So
nothing
we're driving.
happened. Were you there?
Just thinking about
No,
old
we took
segments that we've
Okay.
done. And
Yeah. So he's like thinking I can tell because eventually he's just going, ha 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 ha. I am Rolando.
one of your characters.
Yeah, I am Rolando. You like
Yeah.
Rolando. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
who doesn't love that phone
And I
character?
do, yeah, I do a little bit. And then he's just, you are going to marry Alexis? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to marry Alexis. That's not. And he's like, oh, this goes on the whole way, 10 more minutes until I'm home, to the point where I'm uncomfortable. It's just
Oh, that's
me.
so sweet,
And it is
though.
sweet. It is so sweet. But it's like, okay. And then at the end, of course, he didn't ask for a picture. He didn't want anything. All he wanted was, please tell the show, every single one. I love them. I love them. I love them. I listen every day. So,
You better
unfortunately,
have tipped this man.
oh, I told him, I was like, I'm going to tip you now that you listen to the show. He's like, oh, I will call the station. And I'm like, hey, no, don't call the station. But the worst part is, forgot his name.
Oh.
It doesn't, he had a very unique name. It doesn't show in the app. Like I went today to try to look it up and shout him out. So
Wow.
you know who you are. If
Yeah.
you're listening, we all love
He's
you.
laughing so hard right now.
Yeah,
in his
yeah.
Uber.
That's me. So anyway,
That's so
shout
sweet.
out to you and all the other Uber drivers that love
Dude,
us.
seriously.
This is why I have a partition in the vehicles I ride in. But go ahead. Alexis, what's been on your mind?
So I went to a football game the other day, and I got invited like through friends to go to a suite of like a former NFL player.
Nice.
Which would be cool if I knew who the player was, but I didn't know him. They're like, oh, he's in the Hall of
Okay.
Fame. I'm like, okay.
It's still
So I go to the room, and I quickly realized I'm not meant for the sweet life at games. They're just not very rowdy, you know. It's a lot more
Oh, it's so different.
chit chat, serious.
It's like you're at like a nice
It's like
restaurant.
It's like a networking thing.
Yeah, and I realized that when I start grabbing pizza bites with my hands out of the buffet, and they're like, "Ma'am, you need to use tongs."
There's tongs.
No, they said that.
Yes, and I'm like, all right, fine, whatever, it's pizza. Then I see the open bar, so I go to
Oh,
like
God.
get a drink.
Hey.
I go to get a drink, and I'm grabbing it when I realize the bartender is supposed to give it to you, but she wasn't there, so I thought it was self-serve.
Also, you're not
God.
supposed to chug it directly out of the bottle of the wine. They're supposed to pour you a
Shotgunning, not
glass.
allowed
Yeah.
there, clearly. And then lastly, the most embarrassing is so I go to the bathroom in there, and it won't flush, okay? And I don't know what to do, so I just walk out and don't say anything to anybody in line.
Oh, no.
Of course you do.
So then I now realize I'm the girl who's eating food with my hands out of the buffet, and now
you're so
I just
gross.
didn't flush the toilet, even though it was broken. I didn't know what to do.
You didn't tell them you were from our show, did you?
Oh no, I don't think they knew me. Thankfully,
good.
but-
Yeah. You're like, this girl snuck in.
Yeah, so from now on I will be staying down, or well, up in the 300s, where I normally will be.
Worried about being 100 level?
Yeah, and like keep it up top.
Yeah, go with your people.
Know
There
where
you
you
go.
belong.
Yeah.
All right. All right, Jeffrey, what's on your mind?
Well, if you're at a grocery store and you see some kids stealing,
Oof.
do you say something?
Oh, I don't know if I've ever been a part of this. Have I
Because
seen it?
I was at mine and there's this group of 4 TikTok punks. Just,
Why do you call them TikTok?
I don't know,
You sound like an old man.
troubled looking teens.
Is that a whippersnapper?
They're in the candy aisle and they're acting real sketch.
Yeah.
Sneaking Kit Kats into their pockets.
Why are you in the candy aisle? Are you buying candy?
Well, I'm just passing through.
Oh, okay.
Passing
okay.
through.
It's a huge problem at our grocery store because our grocery store's right by a high school. Yeah, they've had to close down a door because of stupid teens.
So this is more of an issue than
Yeah.
I realized.
So I know what my uncle says. If you see something, you say something. My first
that Uncle
thought.
Sam that says
Why-
that?
yeah.
Well, my
Government.
first thought was I need to confront them. But then I ran through that scenario in my head, and I didn't want to be like 90s sitcom dad. You know,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
hey, fellas,
I know what you're doing.
I know stealing seems dope, but the only person you're robbing is yourself.
They would for sure bully you.
Yeah, so
You get beat up.
decided didn't want to go that route. Put my head down.
What?
Walked past them.
Why wouldn't
looked
you
the
just
other
say,
way.
yo, dudes, put it back?
Okay.
No,
he's cool,
I'm not
bro.
doing
No,
that.
that's what I would say.
And as I get to the end of the aisle, this old man, a customer, looks straight at the teens.
Yeah.
And he says, hey, you're going to pay for those, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
he's
that's
got
right.
the gall.
And they
Get
all
'em.
stop and they're like, what? And he's like, the Kit Kats, you're going to buy those, right?
Oh, he's doing what you were supposed
Yes.
to
And
do.
that's when I get the courage and I say,
Oh, no.
yeah.
No, Jeffrey.
Got
Get
the
'em.
old man's back at that moment.
Now
Man.
that you have backup.
That's
Dude, you
right.
have such a spine.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad you weren't scared of those teenage
No,
boys.
did they steal the Kit Kats anyway? I don't know.
Did you run away
But
after
I
you yelled
did
at?
my part. I
You
felt
said
good
yeah.
about myself that day.
I hope one of them got you on TikTok.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's on all of our minds. Text in 78592.
Yeah,
Tell
text
us
yeah.
what's
Yeah.
on your mind.
What a strong man.
Heroes live here at Brooke and
Thanks
Jeffrey
for
in the
stepping up,
morning.
Jeff.